Spectrum Helpful Tips and Tricks for Job Document Imaging. This video is one in a series of videos to help you learn about features you may not know about in Spectrum. Be sure to watch the other videos in our series on Viewpoint's YouTube channel and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest and greatest content.
Spectrum supports a phenomenal document imaging process here. And so if I go into jobs and I go to images, you're going to get a list of all of the images associated with this, with the project. Now, I want to point out a couple of things here. Of course, you can always use the pop-out window. I'd like to be there right now. You can pop this out into another monitor and then you can be looking at it if that was what you want to see it on a larger basis. Again, you can drag the browser tab and basically put it onto another monitor. But I do want to point out that when you're looking at this, these are basically we are searching. It's in the job filing cabinet. We're looking at all drawers and we're looking at the folder for job 300. Okay, that's great for most stuff, but what about the stuff that comes from vendors or other areas? That's what this checkbox is for. You check it to include images that come from other cabinets. And so what's going to happen is we're going to search for job 300 in every filing cabinet that we have, and that includes these guys: cash management, equipment, subcontracts, and so forth. And so we'll get a much larger list here. So here you can see this is change requests, time card history. All of that is then included. Now, one thing I want to stress is that when you've got this information, you can also run a listing. And if I do a listing, I can preview this. And, that's great. You can get a hard copy report that shows you all of this stuff. And you notice there's these little hyperlinks here. Now, they're not going to do anything here on this PDF format, but this means that there is an image associated with them. And so what you can do is, again, you go back to the listing, and instead of previewing it, you're going to distribute it. And when you distribute it, what it's going to do is Spectrum is going to create a zip file. It's going to create a zip file of all of the images and this report and link them together so that when I say download now, it's going to create this file. I'll be able to load the Crystal Report viewer, and then I can go ahead and run this report. Now, while it's downloading, we're going to just cheat and go back to this. I want to point out a couple things out. So when I say distribute, notice it also said, do I want to include private images? When you do images in document imaging, there is an option. It's kind of subtle. You see this little padlock. The padlock, this means it's open. It's open to everybody. I click it and it goes red. This is a private image. And private images don't get included when you export or run these listings unless you specifically ask for them. So when we go back and I say distribute, do you want to include that private image? Yes or no? And I can say, sure I do. Now, I can also download the viewer. So I have the listing, but I can also download the Crystal Report viewing engine so that it can be loaded on your workstation. So if you were to give this to a customer or somebody else that wanted this information, you could give them the data plus the viewer and they would be able to run this report. So it's a pretty powerful tool. Now, one thing that most folks don't catch, let's just say we're going to vendors. What the heck? So again, if I go to vendors, vendors also have images. Okay? There's a listing button here. I can click listing, and look, I can distribute from here as well. So you can take anything in imaging and distribute it, and then it'll create that zip file, and it gives you the chance to download the viewer. So this is very helpful for tons of different applications.